We'll start with answer Con.
Yeah, Jeff, do you have an update on Lindstrom?
No, I didn't practice today. I don't anticipate him being available tomorrow. As we move through the week, I'll let you know more updates.
And with Stahl, is he out 10 days or is that still to be determined?
Still to be determined.
And just over these last last 6 games, I think 13 goals against. Just what are you seeing in the just in the improved? I know the defense has kind of been up and down. You've had stretches where it's been good, and then stretch where it's bad. But now it's back on the uptick. Well, what are you seeing there?
Certainly, when we were out west, we talked lots about it. We got back. We want to get back to work practicing, and I didn't think it showed in the St. Louis game, but Ned was great. And then I think we've done a better job, in terms of our team defense since then. I think we've structurally, I think we've been better. Habit-wise, we've been better. We've been on the inside ice way more. I think we're playing as a 5-man unit better.
Thanks, Jeff.
Yep.
Next, go to Max Boltman.
With I know you don't know what Stahl's status will be, but as a third guy goes into the protocol here in the recent span, are you guys doing anything a little different here, or how does that kind of change the way you approach that?
Yeah, I would say we're under kind of enhanced measures, some of which is spelled out in the agreement as we moved into the season. So I don't want to really get into the exact protocols. I don't know that that's my job to do, but but yes, we're taking I guess I'd call it enhanced measures.
And then with Verona, how have you seen, what stood out to you about him since he came back from taking a couple games out?
I thought he's been pretty consistently good. I think with Phil, it's just he's a good player. He competes hard. I think taking what's given is an important part of his game. I think sometimes he wants to always look for the home run play when I think he's done a good job lately of just taking what's given. And even when you have the ability to make the home run play, sometimes you look for it too much. And I think he's done a good job of taking what's given. And obviously he's got a really good shot. We want to just keep him shooting the puck as much as possible. And he's done a better job of that here lately too.
And to see that puck go in, he's a guy who I think he scored 9 or 10 goals a couple seasons ago, and obviously last year not as much. What are you seeing from him in the shooting department? What can you do to get back to that?
I just think shoot it, to be honest with you. And I think sometimes, I think there can be a frustration level with some players when shots get blocked. Then you start thinking, okay, I want to look for a better option. But when reality is, if you shoot it enough, it's going to get through. 2, let's make them have to block shots, and 3, there's chaos even a lot of times from the block. And so the conversations that we've had have just been about let's get shooting it more, and if it gets blocked, it's blocked. We don't care. And it doesn't mean you're not smart. It doesn't mean you're not looking for sticks or trying to find the lane, stuff like that. So ultimately the goal was nothing more than a shot with a decent net traffic, and that's what happens a lot of times in this league. So you got to make sure you're on the attack with the shot.
Next, go to Ted Colton.
Hey, Jeff, when somebody comes down with when somebody gets placed on the list like this, I mean, what's the mood in the room for you guys? I mean, is there sort of a kind of an uneasy feeling, or just business as usual, or what?
It's a good question, Teddy. I would say, when Bert got it was right before the game, and I was a little bit worried about does that kind of deflate you a little bit when you get that kind of news right before a game, and I thought our guys reacted really well to it. So far, we've reacted well to it. Now I think we also have won some games in a row here, and so the mood's generally pretty good when you've won a bit, and I think we're all kind of crossing our fingers and hoping that nobody else ends up testing positive, but we'll see.
Talking about moods, I mean, compared to where you guys have been through the last couple of years, how refreshing is this, what you guys have been through so far to this season? I mean, compared to, I guess, specifically like 2 years ago, and that must have been a rough season mentally. I mean, how refreshing is this?
Well, I talked about it lots 2 years ago. It was as just challenging as a time I've ever had professionally for certain. I'm sure it was the same for our players. And it's fun to go into games with the expectation that you should win the hockey game. And when you're down like we were probably 2 years ago, there was probably enough games where you might be hoping to win the hockey game, where I think now you walk in and you feel like you should win it if you execute at a high level. And that's not disrespectful to anybody. And I'm not here to say that we're the 84 or 86 Oilers, but we believe that when we go out and we play our best hockey, that we put ourselves in position to win. And certainly it's more fun to be in that spot than going out and kind of feeling like you're hoping to win.
Did you kind of get a sense last season that maybe you guys were turning the corner or something? I mean, we've talked about often. I mean, other than a COVID stretch,
Yeah.
you guys were in there. I mean,
I think belief was gained last year for sure, because I do think we were in way more games than the year before, not even close. And outside of that one stretch there where we were, kind of the first team to have a ton of COVID cases and none of our games got canceled. We played shorthand in that stretch. We didn't do well. And outside of that, I thought we played pretty good hockey. After the trade deadline, we weren't quite as good, but we were still in games because we were defending well. And so I think there was an understanding of the importance of defending well, how it keeps you in games, and then you can find ways to win games. And, I would say on this current stretch, it's been similar. I don't think we've played perfect, but we've defended pretty well. We've competed hard. And when you do that, you're in the mix of games, and it's about making a play at a critical moment. And we've done that more this year than we did a year ago. So, I think we've taken a step 25 games in, but we got, a big 5-game segment ahead of us and a whole lot of games ahead of us.
thanks for this, Jeff.
Yep.
Wayne St. James?
Jeff, just so have this correct about Mark, there's a chance he might be available tomorrow, that it might be a fault.
No, I did not say that. I was asked about 10 days and I said that's yet to be determined. He will not be available tomorrow.
Okay. And, we were just talking about depth, I think after Saturday's game, you have DeKaiser coming back. I mean, is this just kind of an example of that needed depth? You have one veteran D unavailable tomorrow and another coming back in.
Yeah, obviously we started the season with 8 defensemen that we felt all could be good NHL defensemen, and obviously Stetch is out with a fairly long-term injury. I feel a little bit fortunate that Stalzy and DK's COVID protocol situations were staggered, so that Stalzy goes out and DK comes in. Obviously, you'd love to have your lineup be all players available to you at any point, but that's not the reality of it. So depth becomes critical. We called up Danny Renouf, and the last game Danny played for us played really good. So I think depth, throughout your organization becomes critical. So it gets tested as you go through the season, and certainly with COVID, it gets tested even further.
What do you like about pairing Danny with Moritz Seider? You've had that a fair bit.
Danny DeKaiser.
Yeah.
I think we've done different things with those groups, but ultimately, I think Danny's a good veteran presence. We're lucky that we have good veteran presence on the left side there to go with the younger guys we've played on the right side. Danny's a guy who I think is really smart. As is Moritz, and I just think they're guys who, Danny's not afraid to get in the rush, but he's also not afraid to stay back and let Moritz get in the rush. And I think the more Moritz is playing here, the more he's on attack mode, and so you got to make sure that the other guy's smart enough to read that and make sure he's back, and certainly Danny's that.
Thanks.
Yep.
Last question, Jonathan Mills.
Appreciate your time. We've seen a couple of overtime wins, a shootout win, a couple of close scoring matches during this little 5-game win streak here. What have you seen from your goaltenders, both Ned and Grace, that has composure, play that's impressed you?
I think both guys have a really good mentality that they're gonna play to win the hockey game, not play for stats. And from a goaltending perspective, I think that's important. I think some guys, when whether the game's gone their way or not, they do a really good job of kind of wiping it from their memory. And both guys have played good, but when you get into shootout, It doesn't matter what's happened before that. You're just playing to win, and same thing when you get into overtime. So, I think both guys have a good kind of mentality, and they've both done a good job with it.
Thanks, Jeff.
Yep.
All right, that's all for us today. Thanks everyone for joining us.